In this explainer, we're going to walk through a structured framework for reviewing your business's digital collaboration tools, all based on the provided source material. The goal here is to give you a very clear process for evaluation and, ultimately, for improvement. Now, this visual from the source document really captures the complex landscape of modern digital collaboration. It's a world you likely navigate every single day, and it perfectly illustrates the interconnected nature of the tools, the methods, and the goals that we're about to analyze. All right, our review will move through 5 distinct stages. First, we'll establish a common language by covering technology fundamentals. From there, we'll identify the methods you're currently using, and then evaluate how effective they really are. After that, we'll cover the crucial topic of data and privacy obligations, before finally looking at how to report your findings to key stakeholders. So, the very first step, as outlined in the source material, is to make sure everyone has a clear understanding of some fundamental terms. This creates the baseline we need for the rest of the review. First step is the user interface, or UI. The source material defines this pretty simply as the visual layout of an application. It's what you see, what you click, and what you interact with on the screen. User experience, or UX, goes a step beyond the visuals. It covers the overall feeling and the ease of use. You know, how intuitive and efficient is the application to actually use? Next, we have the API, or Application Programming Interface. Think of this as the bridge that allows different software systems to communicate and share data with one another. It's absolutely critical for integrating your various tools. And that idea of a bridge leads directly to our next term, interoperability. This is all about the ability of your different digital tools to connect and function together seamlessly. It's a key concept when you're assessing a whole suite of business tools. Okay, with those fundamentals established, we can now transition to the second phase of the review. This is where we identify the specific methods and digital tools that are currently being used for collaboration inside your organization. The source material outlines several common methods that will probably seem very familiar. For instance, email is often used for formal records, while meetings, virtual or in-person, are for group decisions. And for the day-to-day stuff, you got instant messaging for quick updates, shared documents for co-editing, and project management platforms to track tasks. To illustrate this, the document gives us a direct comparison of 2 really common tools. On one hand, you have Slack, which is highlighted for its channel-based communication. And on the other, there's Microsoft Teams, which is noted for its deep integration with the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, combining chat, video meetings, and file collaboration all in one place. And to see this in practice, the source points to several Australian case studies. Atlassian, for example, leverages its own powerful Jira software. The Commonwealth Bank brought in Microsoft Teams to enhance its internal communication, while Telstra adopted Slack with a very specific goal: to cut down on internal emails and resolve issues faster. All right, the next crucial step is where we move from just taking inventory to actual analysis. It involves assessing how well your identified tools actually support your organization's strategic objectives. We're going to use the A1 accounting case study from the source to walk through this. The firm's main organizational objective is stated very clearly: to create a single interconnected warehouse of cloud-based data. The source then immediately highlights the gap. A1 Accounting is using a whole collection of separate, unconnected systems: MYOB for accounting, Salesforce for customers, Dropbox for files, and Gmail for email. This fragmented approach is in direct conflict with their stated goal of a unified data warehouse. We now need to address the critical area of data management. The source material places a strong emphasis on the legal and ethical responsibilities that come with collecting and storing client information here in Australia. The framework points to a major regulatory alert. The Privacy Act 1988 is the primary piece of legislation. It governs how all personal information is handled and establishes the Australian Privacy Principles, or APPs, which set the legal standards for data use, access, and storage. Now, for any electronic communication, the Spam Act 2003 lays down 3 key requirements as detailed in the document. First, you must have consent. Second, you have to clearly identify who the sender is. And third, you must provide a functional way to unsubscribe. Compliance here isn't optional. It's the law. The final stage of this whole process is to effectively summarize and present your findings to the organization's decision makers. Because really, clear communication is what drives action. The document recommends using data visualization to make complex findings much more accessible. For example, you can use bar charts for direct comparisons, pie charts to show proportions, line graphs to track trends over time, and even heat maps to illustrate activity levels. And this is absolutely critical. The summary must be tailored to the audience. The source provides a perfect example. For a manager, you'd frame the finding in terms of financial benefit, the cost savings. But for a team member, you'd highlight the usability benefit, how it's easier to use and requires less training. So this briefing has given you a complete framework for conducting your own strategic review. The final question, then, is one for you to consider. Now that you have this structure, which of your current digital tools is the first and most critical candidate for evaluation?